Right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining Kerry and I today. We are really, really pleased that you could join us to find out how to survive and thrive. We are living through interesting times indeed, and they are overnight got even more interesting. So we are in a situation now where we have got a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges, and we're here today to help you through those and to work out what to do with your businesses in the coming weeks and months. But first of all, let's have some introductions. So Kerry.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kerry Malster, for those of you that haven't met me. I'm a business coach with ActionCOACH. I've worked in training, adult education, and I've been working with the big corporates for a long time. And I've also had my own small businesses.
Fantastic. And for those who don't know me, my name is Angela Turton. I'm a senior partner with ActionCOACH, looking after Oakham, Corby, Kettering and Market Harborough. And I'm currently working from home. Yay! I have a background in finance. I am a chartered accountant, and I have been working with SMEs for the last 30 odd years. So between us, Kerry and I have got a wealth of experience that we can help you to survive this current crisis.
Okay, so let's before we get started, let's just see how people are feeling out there. In a minute, I'm just going to put up a poll, and I'd like you to click on a number from 1 to 10. Just let us know how you're feeling, and make sure you're awake, and so we know who's out there. Obviously, 1 is the downside, anxious, perhaps concerned about your business, and 10 being extremely enthusiastic and not quite so worried. So all of our I'll put the poll up right now. Any questions you ask or any polls that we do today, they're all anonymous, so no one can see what you're saying or what you're thinking. It just gives us a really good idea of getting some interaction. So please click on the poll now. I have to press the launch button. There we go. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm not going to wait for everyone to vote. We've got over 10 people on the call now, but we don't have everyone voting. But we're in the middle, towards the middle and the end. So we're looking quite low at the moment, but let's not worry about that. Well, I can't say let's not worry about it. Sorry, that's the wrong word. Let's focus on the positives. We're going to be looking at lots of positivity going forward. And I'm going to move on that note with our step number 1. Okay, so number 1, the main thing right now is communication. So we need to communicate. Why is it so important? Communication in this particular case is what people need to do in a crisis. Okay, when people are in a crisis, they worry. When they worry, they get negative, and when people, businesses, teams become negative, then the results end up negative. So it's super important that we're communicating and keeping people from starting to worry. Make sure you're communicating with everybody on a regular basis. Okay, so that needs to be not only your team, and for many of you don't have teams, but your customers. You really need to communicate with your customers, your suppliers, and your community. First of all, your team. So how are you communicating with your people? How are you communicating with the employees in your organization and about what is actually going on a day-to-day basis? You need to communicate daily. So that's not a weekly or monthly, but absolutely daily, okay? So it needs to be, here's what we're doing, here's what we're changing, here's what we're thinking, this is what we don't want to put too much uncertainty in there, but we need to just have it open. So when people know what you're thinking, it just reduces that anxiety and takes it away. So we've got communication options. We've got Zoom, we've got WhatsApp voice messages, we've got text messages, WhatsApp groups, we've got emails, FaceTime. Do whatever you want to do, but you need to make sure that you do it on a daily basis and try to keep to a routine as much as possible. Customers, again, you're going to need to communicate with your customers as much as possible. So we've seen some really good examples of this in the last week or so. We've got airlines, we've got hotels, and they've been very proactive in telling customers about their policies. So you can switch your aircraft, you can switch your airline, you can delay your flights and without any penalties. Okay, this has really enabled people to reduce their anxiety about working with those companies. So what have you been able to move online? What have you been able to postpone? Okay, you've got networks, you've got suppliers, stakeholders. And when I say networks, I mean all of your social media. Okay, you've got to be communicating through your social media. You've got, you're doing business with people. You've been doing business with people and they need daily communication. So any kind of network, what are you doing from your business because of this? Okay, you can't over communicate. You have to keep communication. You might not feel that you're doing anything specific that you need to tell them about, but by keeping them in constant mind and putting yourself out there on social media, people are remembering who you are and they're seeing how human you are. Okay, so it seems obvious to you that if you're a pub and you've had to close down, then that's it, everyone knows you've closed down. But use this time to communicate personally. Okay, talk to them, post photographs of what you're doing instead on social media. You have an opportunity now to build relationships. You've got all these people sitting at home on social media, not sure what to do. Build your relationships, make sure you're staying on people's mind and they see you as who you are. So even though your business activity may be suspended, keep in people's minds. And then finally, we've got community. So press releases are important at this point still, or any other kind of message, again, that you can get out to your community. So these are people who aren't your current customers, but are your potential customers. Okay, so you need to think about what you can be communicating to those people that you don't already know. So, if we think about the government communications that have been going on, they've been sending out a communication every evening. Even people that aren't interested in what the government usually got to say, they're interested, they're starting to pay attention, people are starting to rely on it, to look forward to it. It really gives people a sense of understanding what's going on. So, it's really important to make sure that people are getting constant updates about what's happening. Okay, so if we move on to the being positive section, which is step number 2, every time there are massive shifts and changes, there's an opportunity for you to be looking for the opportunities. Okay, I know it sounds easier said than done, but right now you need to be looking for the chances for you and what you can do better. What can you do to add to your business at this point? So for example, in 2008, we saw companies that believed the end of the world was coming. And of course, what happened? Yes, the end of the world did come for them, because a lot of this is going to be about how you perceive what's going on. So when you start looking for success and start looking for new ways and started to think about where you can go to get better results, how can you adapt? What can you do for this? Things will change dramatically, because make sure you're one of the people that is looking for the change and not sitting and waiting for something to happen to you. We've never ever been as plugged into the internet as we are today. There are so many new opportunities and new ways of working and doing things. The current situation is really going to shake things up. And in relation to technology, we're never going to go back to the way they were before. Now, in order to make sure you stay positive, and you're gonna have to step back and assess what you're doing in your day-to-day. Sometimes you're gonna have to turn off the news. You're gonna have to get yourself going and focus on only the good things. Try to focus on the wins, no matter what size. Look for things that are working. Focus on anything successful. You're going to have to lead your people. And when I say people, that could be your team, it could be your family, it could be your customers and your community around you. But you're going to need to lead your people through this. You need to be the most positive one in your team. That's absolutely fundamental. The more we learn about this virus, the more we can see how significant the changes are going to be on our economy. So, we need to be looking at this, thinking how we're going to win through this economy situation. So, there are going to be other people in your industry who aren't able to see not necessarily the positives, but there are people in your industry that are looking at this in a very different way to you. Their mindset is not in the same place, and they will lose their way. So if you can turn this, find a way to make a positive from this, you will succeed. So keep looking for that. Stay focused on what can be done. Don't worry about what can't be done. If you get stuck in a hole, then you have to look for the solution, okay? And that's the main thing. So if you think about it's an analogy that we use in coaching, is when you get it stuck in a hole, to get out of the hole, it's really important that you're able to look outside and look at the edge of the hole in order to climb out of it. And what very often happens is when we get put in a hole by someone or something, a situation, we look at our feet, we look at the bottom of the hole because we're so shocked by it. But that's got to change. There's no looking at your feet, no looking at the hole. You've got to be able to climb out and get out of the hole. And if you're not looking for a way out, then it's not going to come. It's not going to happen. So there is going to be negativity from time to time, and that is normal. It's okay. We're not living in denial here, but we just need to grasp at whatever positivity we can find and make sure that you are that most positive person in the room. All right, so people will be looking for you. Your customers are going to be looking to you, your staff, your family. So make sure you're the person that can do that. Angela, you're going to talk about point 3?
I am. So in our business world, we are used to having cycles in business. We're used to boom and bust. And in recent years, these have tended to be around 7 to 10 years of a cycle. And so we're used to seeing things get better and things then go round and get worse. And what we are seeing at the moment feels sometimes a little bit cataclysmic, but actually it is just maybe a deeper winter than we thought it would be. But whenever we have winter, spring is only round the corner. So we have to remain positive and we have to know that things will get better. But in business, we have tasks that we have to do. So whenever we are in the autumn of our business, we know that we have to get ready for winter. And then when we're in winter, we are getting ready for spring. So we are laying those things. And at every stage in our cycles, we are looking forward to the next stage. And the next stage of this present situation that we're in is that we will all come out of this. We will all come out of this stronger, and we will all come out of this in a better position. And if you work on your business now, then the worst that can happen is that your business will become stronger and leaner. So what we need to do is we need to keep the faith. China are already coming out of this situation. We've already seen that the first people are going back to work, and that they are now talking about relaxing some of the very stringent limitations that they've had over there on people's movements. So we are seeing the first buds of spring happening in China. So I just wanted to say that this is natural. What we are going through, it may be a little bit more severe, but we can take a lot of hope in the fact that we have tasks to do, and we need to move forward, and we need to get ready for coming out of it. So if your business is really struggling at the moment, do not despair. We will get out of it. If, however, the sun is shining in your business, you are in sanitizers, or you are in some way online communications, or in some way able to take advantage of the current situation, then you need to be starting to think about getting ready for when it ends and you're not so necessary. So in all stages, we need to look forward.
Okay, so let's look at number 4, step 4, looking at change and mindset. So we know we can't stop this situation. It's happened, it's here, it's continuously changing. It's changed overnight. What do you need to change about yourself and your business to get through all this? Change is inevitable. Where can you find the toilet rolls in your business? So what are your toilet rolls? And I'm sure there's some people thinking there are no toilet rolls in my business, but there are always going to be ways and things you can adapt and change. It may be that you have to do something different for a while, but there are always possibilities. So, for example, there are some very swanky hotels right now that are being paid to take homeless people in. They're receiving money from the council. You know, that is not something that they would even have considered even this time last week. So the possibilities at the moment and the options, the creativity and thinking is just off the scale. You know, we have to think this through and understand change and how change works. You can't wait for it. You have to get ahead and be willing to be the first and get taking action now. So if your mind is open, you know, then you're willing and you're able to adapt. But you've got to really think about whether you are open or not. So how are you thinking this through? How are you making sure you're not just waiting to see what happens? You know, are you reactive or are you proactive? You know, it's not how experienced and smart you are, as Stephen Hawking pointed out. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. That's really powerful. You know, adapting to change is so important right now. There are people that have, you know, who have an idea about climate change. We've got our friend over there on the other side of the pond who thinks it's lead rubbish. But, you know, even if climate change was a hoax, if we stop polluting the environment, then what we've done is a great job of not polluting the environment. And, you know, this simple point is the same here with us. If you make a shift to a leaner, faster and better business and the whole thing blows over in 90 days, then you're still a leaner, faster, better business. The worst thing that you can do, you know, is get a leaner, faster, better business. And those changes just need to be made. Now, as a result, you've got to look at yourself and ask yourself some very important questions, all right? So who do I need to be to take my business through this? Who do I need to become? What do I need to learn? What am I going to learn? What do I need to learn in order to get through this? Okay, it's not just going to be about changing your business and changing where and when you work, but you're going to have to really work on your mindset right now. You know, we can help you with that. That's something that, you know, we do. That's our job. If you need something to learn, we can put you in the right direction. We can help you with things. So your mindset right now is everything. This alone will decide on how well your business does. You need to be considering all of your aspects of business, okay? So you've also got your product, services, pricing, delivery, and staffing. We're going to come on to that. Angela's going to go into some more detail with more practical tips. But just before we move on, let's have a quick hands up. Who's still with us? Do you feel ready for change? Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to click on the hand symbol to put your hand up to show that you feel that you're ready for change. Let's have a look. Oh, it's looking positive. Yes, we don't have quite 100%, but we've got almost 100% of people feeling ready for change. Oh gosh, it's we filled up. We've gone into 40 people since we've been looking. Brilliant. Okay, guys, great stuff. Let's crack on then. Over to you, Angela.
Great. So you've all heard of the expression cash is king, and that is never more important to understand than in times of change. Really need to understand where your cash is in your business. And your cash can be hiding sometimes in your business. It's not just the money that you've got in the bank. It could be in the people who owe you money. It could be in the stock you've got on your shelves. And it could be in the fact that you're paying your creditors too early, so that you could perhaps cut back and pay them a little later, and that would give you a little bit more cash. So one of the first thing that we need to do in uncertain times, in fact, the first thing we need to do in business, full stop, is to get a cash flow forecast for our business. And we need to know how long our money is going to last. And if we are in the unfortunate position that we are seeing a sharp downturn in our sales and that we've had to close, we have no turnover coming in for the next whoever knows how long, then we really need to make sure that we know how long we're going to last. We need to, if we're in a fortunate position and we are still trading and we are still making sales, then we still need to know how long that's going to last. Or if we're expanding, we need to know what sort of cash we need to take advantage of whatever it is that you can take advantage of at the moment. So what you need to do, we will be talking to you later on in the week about how to actually prepare a cash flow forecast. There will be stuff coming in and the details of how to do that. So that will come later. But one of the things that you can do now is to look at every single item on your accounts, to look and see whether that's necessary, whether that's at the right level, whether you need to change that in any way, whether that's decreasing it, cutting it completely, whether it's postponing something that you were intending to do, or whether actually it's increasing that, because it may be that if you are able to take advantage of what's going on at the moment, that you can, you need to spend more, maybe more on staffing, maybe you need to hire a van to do your deliveries, whatever it is, there may be areas that you need to spend more on. So you need to look at that. Very, very important that actually you know what your numbers are in your business right now. So cash is king, and look at how you can reduce outlays. Negotiate with people, because there may be deals going at the moment. People may be willing to sell you stuff at a much lower cost than previously, just for them to get through the downturn. And finally, just keep marketing. Now, one of the things that quite often goes in a recession is marketing. It seems to be that people think that this is a little bit of an add-on, and we will be covering it later. It's really, really vital that you keep telling people who you are and what you're doing, and you keep selling. And as you keep selling, the cash will come in. And we need to know exactly what that looks like. What does that look like in your business, and how are we going to make sure it works? So the next thing you've done when you've looked at your business and you've seen how much you need to go forward, then the next thing is to try and arrange credit to shore up the buffers of your cash flow. And the government announced last week a huge amount of support for businesses. We are still waiting on some help for self-employed, but at the moment we have an awful lot of help out there. So for the larger companies, we have the commercial financing facilities, but for most of us here on this call, the business interruption loan will be something that will be of most interest. Now, this is being organised and arranged through your local bank, so go and speak to them first. It is being underwritten by the Bank of England, and it is available as of yesterday, so go and speak to your bank. It is a loan, you will need to repay it, but if you will more likely to get this loan than you are to get any other loan, because 80% of it is being guaranteed by the government. The other government support that we've got out there is our rates relief. So if you are paying rates, then you need to be looking at the rates relief. Now, it is going to be administered by your local council, and therefore you will have to wait for them to contact you. But bear it in mind, keep it under observation, and if they haven't contacted you in a reasonable time, then you need to go back to them. All of these organisations are struggling a little bit, so do bear with them. They have all had this happen in the last week, so they are all struggling themselves to cope with these things, but they will be in contact with you. HMRC have also a place to go to look at credit lines to get in credit. You do not need to pay your VAT for this quarter or less until next year. It is not a cancellation, it is a deferment. So speak to your HMRC sorry, don't speak to your HMRC just yet. Cancel your direct debit for VAT. If you are paying by direct debit, make sure you cancel that, because you won't get it back if you pay them, but you don't need to pay them. Then go and speak to them about your PAYE and NI contributions and your corporation tax, if that is going to be due in the next couple of months. They will be very helpful and they will give you time to pay. One thing to consider is that if you do have time to pay for HMRC, then do make sure that you pay it as soon as you can, because it will affect your credit rating if you have these arrangements in place long term. So do speak to HMRC about cancelling it for a little while, but as soon as the cash returns to your business, do make sure you pay that off. You can also look at other credit lines with your suppliers, make sure your suppliers are giving you as much credit as you can, and look at credit cards. Credit cards are the most expensive form of borrowing, so do use them as a last resort. But if you think that you may need the headroom that an extra couple of grand on your credit cards can give you, then please try and arrange that now. The lowest rates you can get will be the business interruption loan. There are low rates around at the moment, so speak to anybody, but make sure you have enough cash to get you through either expanding your business or getting you through to when you can reinstate your business to be working at normal levels. One of the worst things about any sort of downturn is looking at our staff. It's absolutely heartbreaking for businesses to be laying off staff. It's very, very difficult for both the people who are being made redundant and the people who are having to take those decisions and have those discussions with their staff. It's a really, really heartbreaking situation. The government has given us the coronavirus job retention scheme that will be paying 80% of anybody who has been, who is not working for your business because they would have been laid off. That they would, if you couldn't, if you were going to make them redundant and instead you have laid them off so they're not being paid, this will allow you to continue paying up to 80% of the government will back 80% of their salary up to 2,500. So it is a good wage. It isn't, the details aren't all out there yet and it's not available yet. It is going to be through HMRC, it will be a grant through HMRC. And how that exactly is going to work, we don't know. It's going to be available by the end of April, but I doubt whether the payments will happen immediately. I think it will be something we will have to apply for, and then we will get rebated. We will get the grant later on. So when we're looking at our cash flow, we can put that money in, but it won't happen instantly. We need to be aware of that. Other things we can do with our staff, ask them to take vacations if possible, look at who you are, who you've got. Sometimes you will just have to cut jobs. But in the spirit of making your business leaner and better for the future, look at who you are employing, because some of the people you're employing you may not need when you recover. And if you don't need them, start making that decision now that you're going to let them go. But do consider the prime workers for your business. Who are the key people you need to keep on? So if somebody is absolutely crucial to your business succeeding, you need to keep them on. Also have a look at how long it's taken you to recruit that person and how much it costs to recruit that person. Because if it's going to be more expensive to recruit somebody once you come out of this crisis than it is to keep them on, think about that as well and make sure that you know what you're doing. So look at all your staff and see what you're going to do with them, because there are options out there. We do now have support from the government. We don't actually know what they're going to do about the self-employed yet. At the moment, there's a big push to try and get some sort of cuts for them. in place. Oh, so sorry, not cuts at all. Some sort of funding for those people in place, and we will keep you updated when that comes in. So many of us now, well, all of us now have been forced to go and work at home. That will cause problems, and Kerry will now talk you through this from a position of great experience.
Great, thanks. So there's a very good chance now that you're already working from home and you've already had some time to get used to it. And when I say time in this situation is days, and it feels like forever. So yeah, I've been working on and off for a long time from home. So now's the time for you guys to start planning to use this technology. So it's already happened, you're already using it, but how are your plans reflecting these changes? Okay, so whether you've got a remote team working from home, or you're delivering your food, if you're working in food, or even if you're selling online now that you're a clothes retailer, we need to plan for those next 90 days. And planning for it to go on for at least the next 6 months. So basically we're planning for the worst, but we're hoping for the best, all right? As we mentioned before, if we plan and it manages to get back to our new normal faster, then great. You know, we've planned and we're still winning. It's not going to be a problem. So, you know, I've been using Zoom now for the last 5 years, and I'm really happy to see that Zoom is now taking its place as one of the heroes in this crisis. It's such a fantastic tool. So what are you guys going to do in terms of communicating with your teams? Okay, so there are so many options, and we talked about them earlier, but you're going to find that people are getting really overwhelmed. If you've got stuff coming in from customers on Facebook, you've got Instagram going, you've got, you know, all kinds of stuff happening. You need to decide on what it is that you're going to use to communicate between you and try and stick to it, just to really bring that confusion and overwhelm really down for people. You know, managing anxiety levels is really key at the moment. So what's happening with the mail? You know, how are you dealing with the mail? What are we doing about postage and sending stuff and deliveries? How are we going to communicate that to staff? And what, you know, how are these things going to be for everybody, and how's it all going to work together? You know, we believe that the postal service is still going. As of this morning, that, you know, they were discussing that, you know, working online is not a problem as yet. Who knows what might happen tomorrow? So communication is key, as I've already mentioned before with home working. The other thing is managing performance. Now, I don't mean here managing as in just checking up on people to make sure they're doing work and they're not sitting having a cup of tea, watching TV. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about, how are you making sure people know what they're doing? Are they getting the training that they need to have in order to get the job done efficiently from home? You know, I know we're all making it up as we go along, but that's in emergency mode. We're not going to be in emergency mode for long. This is going to become a transition period where it becomes normal, and we need to plan what our new temporary normal is going to be. You know, how can you make sure that everyone understands if they're doing it in the right way or not? How are you going to do your accounting and meetings and so on? So, you know, your key performance indicators, the measures that you put in your business to know if your business is working, it's on track or it's not. How are you going to track that? How will people know if they've done a good job, and if they've excelled even in what you expect them to do? So these are really important things that you need to put into your business. Are you using online checklists? Are you using online task managers? Do you have software to help you collaborate with each other? You know, can you work on something and communicate about tasks all happening simultaneously? So these are really important, you know, tools that we need to be looking at. There's so many, it can be really, really overwhelming. You know, as part of our community, we've got experience of using different tools. I'm happy to share what I've used, what I know, tools I know other people have used, and what have worked for them. And, you know, I think sharing in a community like the one that we have is going to be really important going forward. Okay, so we've also got staff wellbeing. Now, there's something that you may or may not have thought about because we're just so focused on day-to-day at the moment. But how are you going to keep an eye on your staff and know how they're getting on when we're all confined to our houses? Okay, it's really important to get them into a routine. Can you encourage them to get into a routine, making sure they get dressed and have a shower and get up every day and don't slip into something else? It's going to be really important to get them both mentally and physically healthy and get those habits in, you know, start them as soon as possible so that everybody stays healthy and is ready to hit the ground running when the restrictions lift. So please start thinking this stuff through, so you're ready for any changes that come again. So, you know, along with all the other coaches, so obviously Rupert and Angela over in Oakham, me in Melton, we've been managing remote teams for years, and we're here to help. You know, we really genuinely want to help you. So if we can, so please talk to us. If we can talk you through anything, give you any ideas, then we really, you know, we will do that. So if we move on to step 9, and this is our new world, which is run by online deliveries, online business and deliveries. It's just mind-blowing. You know, this all happened so fast. You know, 1 minute people are walking around Snowdon, the next minute everyone's at home. So already we've seen pubs delivering pints of in milk cartons over this weekend. Angela did a CrossFit class over Zoom yesterday morning, didn't you, Angela? And I convinced my yoga teacher to go online, because I just couldn't imagine not doing a yoga class. You know, so one of my coaching clients as well, he works in high-level sports training. He works with people like Real Madrid and so on. He's been putting together a sports award that can be completed from your living room. You know, so we've got so much work happening at home. Whoever thought so much could be achieved from people's living rooms or spare room offices? So, you know, that innovation is really starting to come through. So what are you and your team doing to evolve and adapt to change? Yes, it could only be for 3 weeks, and we really hope it is only for 3 weeks, but what can we do now that can innovate for now, but also for the weeks after this? You know, this is a great opportunity for us to look at changes, look at efficiencies, and really take this forward. So as I mentioned before, as far as we know, deliveries are on. There's been discussion about business being able to carry on online. It's not a problem, and the post offices are still open and deliveries are still happening. Again, it may change, we don't know. So we're currently in the crisis stage, but we won't be in this crisis stage for long. We're going to be going into a transition stage next, which is, so we've got the where we are now, we're in crisis, we'll be going into transition, and then we're going to be coming out, and this is going to be the new normal. Okay, so this is not going to last that long. We need to be ready for this and this stage, and then when we get here, we need to be ready for this stage and this stage. So we need to be planning and thinking through how things are going to go. So we need to get into a cycle of thinking, planning, acting, reviewing. So that's just something that's going to go around. So we're constantly looking at how we can change and evolve and review whether that's working or not. So that's with you, that's with your teams, and so on, so that you can stay, you know, really stay a step ahead. Now, there's going to be some people here on this call that there isn't anything you can do to affect your income right now, or even in the next few weeks. Okay, we accept and expect that some people just will get zero income. Now, if this is you, you can still take control of your situation by getting your cash flow up to date, so you can see exactly which points it's not looking so good. And, you know, we're here to talk you through it. You don't have to go through this alone. And we'll help you with your applications to the bank, and we'll, you know, talk you through we've got the processes we go through. We can go through all this with you, so you don't feel like you're doing this on your own. And Angela will go through step 10.
So we've had a couple of questions. The first, David, thank you for your question. I'm going to cover marketing in a little bit, so I will bring in what you've asked at that stage. Denise, about us asking about redundancy pay. So if we do need to let somebody go, what about redundancy pay? As far as I know, the rules about redundancy have not changed. If you are making somebody redundant, look first to their contract to see if there's a redundancy clause in that contract, in which case you will need to follow that. If there is no clause in their contract, then you will need to follow the statutory redundancy payments that I actually I'm not up to date with, but I can point you in that direction once I'm off the call, Denise. So I will send you some information about that. But if you think it might be a short-term redundancy, then do look at whether or not the employer retention scheme will be something that you can help with. And when you have our coaching call at the end of this, then we can talk you through the options of what you need to do with your staff. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the need to keep marketing. Marketing is telling your marketplace that you exist. It is telling people who don't know you what you do and why you do it, how you do it, all of those good stuff. And it is very, very important that we keep marketing. We keep telling people what we're doing. So David, yes, do keep telling people about your travel. Do keep telling them, because people want to have something they can look forward to. They may not be booking it right now, but most of things that you're talking about may well be in 2021 and not 2020. So people they may not want to book things, but there will be an awful lot of people who do want to book things because they want things to have something to look forward to. So keep telling people. And it's important to, with travel especially, it's a very, very visual thing. And you can be on social media talking about, posting videos, posting things, and people will see that now. They're at home, they're with the kids, and the kids will see that you're putting out wonderful pictures of beaches and Disney and whatever else it is. And people who are fed up with being stuck in their flat will see you putting up pictures of the wide open doors, and they may not book with you, but keep marketing, keep telling them what you're doing, because as soon as they are comfortable that this situation is going to end and that they will have cash, the first thing so many people will do will be booking holidays, because everybody's had their holidays disrupted this year, and the first thing they want to do is to book their holidays. So really, keep marketing, and if people want to buy from you, that's fine, but you just have to keep, and I think keep updating people with what the service is, what your service is, and how you're looking after people who got stuck in on a holiday. Maybe they got stuck in Italy and they can't get back, or something like that. So yes, keep marketing, keep telling people. There's a lot of emotion around at the moment, and I think that with this emotion, we have a chance to actually reach people that haven't been open to us before. So whatever your service is, it may be that, and I'm not talking about ambulance chasing, I'm not talking about some sort of very crass message. You need to carefully consider what your message is going to be. But actually, if people are in a state of real despair and real worry and understanding, then maybe, if you've got a life coach business, you can help them work their way through that. If, as I say, with your holiday business, you've got a chance to give people hope, and that's what we can all offer. So do consider your message. Keep doing it. Keep working out how you're going to get in front of your marketplace, because this, whatever we're in now, is not going to last forever, and we need to be ready when we come out of it. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the people that we have already done business with. So the people we have already done business with, our current and past clients, they are our most important asset. They have already done business with us. They know, like, and trust us. They are the people who are going to refer us to other people. So it's very important that we look after the customers that we've got. So those people who have booked holidays, maybe you can go back to them and say, this is what we're doing. This is what we think is going to happen in the next year. Just keep you updated. So, and in other industries, let's talk to people. Maybe treat them specially. Show them that you care. And if you can show that you care about your current customers, they will stay with you through this crisis, and you will be better placed to serve them when we come out. If you're in a very lucky position and that your sales are booming at the moment, then do remember to keep those customers happy and just keep them, you know, really, they've come to you, you want to keep them further. The worst thing you can do right now is to lose your customers to the competition who are doing things better than you are. If your competition is talking to your customers better than you are, then they will go to them. So you need to be talking to them, but really look at your message and talk to them in the way that you feel is congruent with your situation. So hopefully that answers your question, David. I think that's it now. One of the things that people are feeling a little bit icky with right now is selling their services. And I think if that is you, well, you need to consider that if you have got a service that people need, then you have a duty to make sure that that service is out there for people and that people can see you and that they can take that service. So if, for example, you are a catering company that has decided to move into homemade meals, then it may be that a lot of people will need that. You know, we're all stuck at home now. If you're stuck at home and you're all feeling unwell, you don't want to cook, you want that service. So it is okay to sell at this current crisis. It is okay to service your customers. So do not feel guilty if you're in that situation, because it is okay. I think that is
okay. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that as well. It's okay to make money. You know, we're doing business, it's fine. You know if you're exploiting people or not, and that there's very, very few cases of that actually happening, thank goodness. So step 12 then talks about common sense and compassion. So common sense, let's just behave and stop buying toilet paper for a start. But the majority of what we need to be focusing on right now is over delivering and on our customer service. You know, just bear in mind that your customers are paying attention to what you do. If they see you in the office, they see you doing something online, you're out and about and you're not supposed to be, just bear that in mind. So, you know, really make sure you have and you're using your common sense. But in terms of the customer service, you know, over deliver on customer service. Don't hold back. Every kind of customer service, whatever you can do for people, give. Do more than you're expected to do. Go above and beyond. You know, compassion is going to be the winning thing in this. Already we've seen such great examples of the country coming together, people helping each other. Super important. There will be people looking for refunds from your products. I'm sure if you've got a travel business, you've already been dealing with that constantly. It's if you can postpone as much as possible, then you know you get to keep your cash. So you know, definitely tell people to try and keep as much cash as possible. And it's not just a case of keeping your cash when you're postponing and not getting refunds, but you're also sending out a really strong message that this is not going to last forever and business is going to continue at some point. So again, getting back to the point Angela made earlier, people need something to look forward to. So if they've booked something, whether it's an event at the NEC or you know something that's happening, it needs to be postponed and not cancelled. You know, the world is not ending. The world is just, life is just, as we know it, is just being postponed and it is going to continue. You know, don't forget also that customers are going to appreciate a leader in this situation. They're going to remember you. They're going to remember the people that were there for them on social media, entertaining them, sharing information, building those relationships. You know, you're a business owner that has a plan, you know what you're doing, and you're communicating. And that's a really strong message to send out to people right now. So, you know, if you're, for example, if you're a hairdresser and you can't work from home, it's completely impossible. Get online, offer some tips on how to keep your hair colour looking good until you can actually get to the hairdressers next time. If you're a gardener, send some messages out or something about this is the right time to be planting A, B, and C. You know, just some kind of communication, keep in touch with people. You know, what can you do to help other people? What can you give away? What can you do for nothing? How can you help, basically? You know, it may be that you just can't earn money in the way that you did before, but if you've got time down and you have a chance to help your customers in some other way, it's not going to be forgotten. You know, people will remember. We've got an example of a wedding and events catering company, and they pivoted really fast. They were all over this, and they're now providing food for the elderly. They're taking it around to their door. You know, some people are really going the extra mile to be as helpful as they can. They cannot carry on in the business as it is, and they're just going for it. So, you know, it's not business as usual. We're having to do things in such a different way. Our brain could not have comprehended this even this time last week. So let's embrace it and help as many people with whatever we can in the process. So Angela, do you want to talk about our action points?
Yes, so what I want you to do now, I want you to write down 5 ideas on which you need to take action for your business now. And I would like you to type or share in the question box 1 to 3 of those actions. And what Kerry and I will do is we will hold you accountable to that. We will come back, we will ask you if you need help for that. If you would like us to share what you're going to be doing, then perhaps you could just put share in the question box first, so that that we can see what it is that you know, that we don't share anything that you want to keep private is the main thing. So if you'd like to now start typing, I will give you a couple of minutes just to do that.
So we've got business interruption loans seem to be quite popular at the moment. So Angela, let me just get this right. If somebody said share, does that mean I can say their name?
Well, at least you, well, maybe just the first name.
So we've got marketing campaign on Facebook.
Wonderful.
People, you know, keeping them in the main arena. People know what's going on. Yeah, so other people talking about applying for that business interruption.
And we've got posts, daily LinkedIn posts, helping people to clarify what they're doing and moving forward. Yeah. Thank you, Mark, that's fantastic.
Good point. Yeah, contacting all customers. Yeah, just to chat, catch up, so that they're not forgotten. Yeah, I think for me right now, I'd love to hear from a travel agent talking about where I could go in the future. It would give me so much hope. Absolutely. And Chris from Vino Wines is very happy for us to mention his name. Yes, so maybe you won't do so badly from it then, Chris, who's selling wine, because his wine is being delivered. You can still get your wine from Chris's Vino Wines.
And I can put a little testimonial into that, because that is yeah, Chris's wines are always wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah is going to find the best way to organise and work with her employees, and work with getting her LinkedIn marketing better, and she's going to talk to her suppliers. So fantastic.
Yeah, great. There's a lot of activity happening here.
Just wonderful. Yeah. So Mark is saying there aren't any shows, but when they will, he wants people to remember them, and that is absolutely wonderful.
The main point.
Yeah, make sure people keep you.
When this is finished, who are people going to remember? All righty then. So as we mentioned before, we're here. We're more than happy to talk you through, go through all the points and check where you're at. What have you considered? What have you thought about? What do you want to talk through? Angela? Yeah,
we have. We are going to be sending out links to our Calendary, so that you can book in a chat with either me or Kerry. Please do that. It is free for you to come on the call, and we can talk through anything that you would like to talk through. If you've got a question about working remotely, or you've got a question about how to produce your cash flow, and whatever that question, anything we've covered today, or any aspect of your business, then please feel free to give us a call or to book online one of our calls. We are also running online 90-day planning sessions. It is very, very important that you have a plan for your business now. Sometimes when we're running these, people aren't seeing 90 days, so they're just doing a plan for 30 days. That's absolutely fine. All we want you to do is to have a plan. So if you are interested in an online plan, then give us a call first. Let's have a chat with you, a 30-minute chat, and we can then point you in the right on the right planning session for you.
Just to answer Mark's question, Mark, we're going to send you a link to our calendar, so you can just click on the link and you can book a meeting with either of us, and we'll go through all the different steps and see how that relates to your business. Okay?
Wonderful.
So we're going to be running a series of different webinars, trying to build, get that community going. So we might give it a go where we can actually interact with each other and you can speak to each other. Angela's going to look at doing some cash flow forecasting type webinars. We'll be looking at that together. Yeah. And yeah, we said the 90-day plan. If there are updates next week, we'll be doing an update webinar. So we'll definitely be keeping in touch and let you know what's going on.
Wonderful. Right. Thank you very much indeed for your participation and your questions and for your positive actions. We look forward to seeing how those go. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.